I'm your host, Felipe Rose, and welcome to the Disco Chronicles and Beyond. This podcast is about the disco era, the music, the culture, and the impact it's had on the world today, and why disco is still so hot. After successfully touring the world for over 4 decades as one of the original co-founders and members of the world-famous Village People, selling over 100 million records, this disco king truly knows a thing or two about the disco era. So sit back and relax and enjoy my conversation with my guest today. Hi everyone, it's Felipe Rose here, your host on the Disco Chronicles. Thank you all for being here with us, for subscribing on Spotify.com and Anchor.com. Coming in January, we will have the new YouTube channel with all the seasons of the Disco Chronicles and also with comment sections where you can also talk about your favorite songs, your memories when you were shaking it up, doing your boogie boogie woogie style back in the day. Our guest tonight, not only is she an amazing human being, Denise Montana is a double-selling platinum recording artist, a vocal stylist of the highest caliber whose roots can be traced from jazz to the blues to the great American songbook standards to disco. From her platinum-selling Merry Christmas to All on Salsoul Records, her most famous disco recording on Atlantic Records, which sold over 1 million copies, You're My Number One DJ, played on turntables across America in discotheques around the world. Denise Montana is the daughter of Vince Montana Jr., the famous vibe musician and orchestra leader of the infamous Salsoul Orchestra. She performs at classic disco shows around the world with the usual suspects, the Tramps, the Ritchie Family, Chic, Fran Jolie, Musique, Travaris, and yours truly. Please, welcome to the show, the legendary Denise Montana. Welcome everyone to the Disco Chronicles, to all our international fan base on Spotify, on Anchor FM. It gives me tremendous pleasure to bring to you double platinum recording artist Denise Montana. Welcome to the Disco Chronicles. Bravo! How are you, my dear?
I am wonderful. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm a little tired.
The man with the earthy, clear, articulate, strong like bull voice. Beautiful.
Back up a little. Stay right there.
You don't want me there?
Yeah, no, not like that. Stay right there. That's perfect. No, I'm a little. That's great. You're gonna show us your tatas now. No, I'm a little tired because we threw back the time. So out of nowhere.
All because of the farmers that aren't. They don't even need the light anymore. They don't need that.
No, they don't. And I believe it was Saturday morning. We text back and forth, and you said, "Yeah, giddy up, something." Milk that cow.
Milk that cow. Let's have a hoedown.
Let's have a hoedown. Yeah, I mean, and out of nowhere last night, 4:30 in the morning, I woke up and I just could not get back to sleep.
Or you usually get up at 5:30 or 6?
No. I like a good sleep in like 8:30, and by 9 I'm up and going. So Denise, we've known of each other for so long, and then we had the honor of meeting each other during the Vinyl Legends Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Where I was being inducted, and you were there. Were you also being inducted that night?
No, I was inducted in Deptford, New Jersey. I live in Pennsylvania, but right. Jersey is just right over the Ben Franklin Bridge or the Walt Whitman, and they had it there, and it was myself and Wardell Piper and I don't remember, gosh, but we were inducted there and Bob Pantano was there. You know, Bob.
Yes.
He's a DJ. He was my first number one DJ. But don't tell Al Magliano.
No, I just had Al on the show. He's wonderful. No, but the thing is
Wait,
that
I have to show you something. Who's that?
That's you and Al?
That is.
That's Al Magliano?
That is.
No way.
Uh-huh. Back in
Wow.
1978.
Yeah, but you also were a hottie back in the day too, girl. You know, you remind me of.
Do I have enough hair? Wait, look.
Yeah, you had a lot of curly hair. Now the thing is that one of the songs that I became familiar with you during Village People, right before Village People, when I was dancing in some of the clubs in New York in all my tribal gear, and first heard Magic Bird of Fire, Salsoul Orchestra, Salsoul Orchestra, and that is where the ex-producer saw me and just could not believe the composition of Igor Stravinsky's Firebird, then made into a disco classic. And then suddenly he's looking at this half sweaty indigenous boy, half naked, dancing in the club with sleigh bells. And then when I found out later on, I found out that I was dancing to Salsoul Orchestra's Magic Bird of Fire. Then I found out about you and your father. And tell me about your father. How was he instrumental in bringing you into the industry, the recording industry?
Well, yes, the recording industry. However, we didn't grow up together. And at about 14 years old, he picked me up one time and took me to Cherry Hill, New Jersey, where he lived, and with his wife and my sister and brother. And we were listening to the radio, and I'm sitting there singing Motown stuff, and went, "You can sing. You can really sing. What? Well, it's in my genes." And then my mother's side of the family, Mike Pedersen, is a sax player who had the hit out, "Shake a Hand, Shake a Hand, Shake a Hand," back in the 50s. And so on my mother's side and my father's side, because my father had written in the Legends of Disco. Which book was I in? I have it written down somewhere. That James Arena wrote.
James Arena. Well, he's got 2 books now on disco.
Well,
I think you were in the
first one. Later one. No, I wasn't in the first
one.
one.
Oh, the later one. Okay.
With Carol and Carol. I was in the later one, and now it's a black cover. It says Legends of Disco, I think.
Yes.
Not first Legends or whatever. And so my father wrote this nice paragraph about my daughter has my genes. She's got it in her DNA. And he went on and on to say, which was very, very sweet, to have a parent, understand your talent and talk about it. And he wanted to say that, she's like me. She started from jazz and blues.
And that's one thing that I just found out about you, because I was also then became more aware of you with "You're My Number One DJ." It used to be the song when you were getting ready to go out. That was the song I would play when I would get ready to go out to the clubs. And then cool. And then didn't know you sang that until not long ago. I found out during the Vinyls Legends Hall of Fame, which, by the way, we then sang together that night.
I know. I can't forget you. I didn't forget you. Oh my God, you and me and a bunch of other people, but you and I stood together.
Christine Wilshire was with us.
Christine and Carol Williams, Carol Douglas, Franz Jolie. I think she was there. And oh my gosh, so many people were on that stage that night. And we were just wigging out in song. We were like doing blues licks and disco and a little bit jazzy.
Riffing. I guess we were riffing or something like that. Yeah, we've got another 9 minutes to go, and then we're gonna take the first break. Now, how did your father get started with? Because he was not vibe player. He was a vibe player. A lot of people don't know what a vibe player is. Please explain that.
Okay. On all the Philadelphia songs, it's Sigma Sound. You'll hear on the Intruders and the Blue Notes and the Stylistics, and you name the group, you'll hear my father's vibes electric is vibraphone, and the xylophone is not electric. And then there's the marimba.
Okay.
My father, at 16 years old, traded his drums for vibes. And my father would go play with people like John Coltrane and Ella Fitzgerald in Philly when they were in Philly.
Yeah.
He played with Charlie Parker, alto sax player. He played with all the great jazz players, and that's what he did, and that's what he wanted to do. And my father at the time, when I was a little girl, traveled all over the country and different places to play. And then in the 70s, he had this genius idea to take songs like Tangerine from the 40s and Magic Bird of Fire,
Magic
Stravinsky.
Bird of Fire, Igor Stravinsky's Firebird.
That, like, what genius is that to take them and
That
put
was stunning.
a disco groove to it? Earl Young,
Yeah.
So all those musicians from Sigma, I know them all because they're on my songs too. And Joe Tarsia just passed.
Yeah, I know. So many of our contemporaries we're losing so many. We're losing so many. The late Jacques Morali, my producer of Village People, he worked a lot in Philadelphia, Sigma Sound, and Gypsy Lane was the studio band. So he had that formula. He had that vibe with all those musicians that whenever, like the first album that we recorded was recorded there in Philadelphia at the Sigma Sound there.
Okay.
He had Ritchie Family first.
Oh,
and
I
so
just played with the Ritchie Family, myself and Wardell Piper. We just played at Ardmore Music Hall.
Right. I just found that out. And I saw that flyer. And they had what was it called? Best Disco in Town that was done at Sigma Sound in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Now
They're great.
the South Soul Orchestra, they were studio musicians first, correct? Now, what was it? Your father that pulled everyone together? How was South Soul or Records created?
South Soul was my father and was it Norman Connors and a few other people. What was the Carey brothers that started South Soul?
Right.
Carey brothers, three from New York, and they came to my father and said, "We want to do something," and so he did, and we did "Merry Christmas All" with South Soul, and which is
that sold 1 million copies.
Oh yeah, at least. Oh my God,
this is a big Christmas song.
Well, it's played every year. I got a gold record for that, but it went platinum. I don't think I'm a double platinum, but maybe I am by now.
Well, you're double platinum because also #1 DJ went platinum.
Okay.
So, and that's why you're double platinum.
Oh, okay. So I'm glad you clarified that. But I get so much. Well, first of all, we all get so much joy from singing.
I know.
But when you get email from people every November and December saying, "When I was a little kid, my mom and I decorated the tree to Merry Christmas All. We played over and over and over and over. We love you." And when I go to perform, there's from 5-year-olds to 95-year-olds, and the joy that I see in their faces, and it brings me joy to sing it because it's a happy, jolly, yummy time of the year. I mean, that's what, and it's about giving and sharing and giving gifts and love and joy. And I just can't tell you what that song does to me to perform.
Some of these young fans that don't know that song, just give us a bar or a little piece of it, because these young kids that are listening on
Spotify, how they know the song? First of all, even people my age think the song sometimes is called "Christmas Time Is Here" because that's the first line, but it's not.
It's not, right?
It's "Merry Christmas All." That was Snoopy's song. Christmas.
And how does your song? How does your song start?
Happiness and cheer. That's the Snoopy song. Mine is "Christmas time is here. It's a jolly good time of the year." And in the end is happy. If I say to somebody, if I'm going to go sing #1 DJ, and I say, "I bet you know my other song," and I start singing "Happy, jolly, yummy time of the year. Merry Christmas, everybody." They a song immediately. But if I say, you know my song, Merry Christmas All, they're like, isn't that called Christmas Time is Here?
See, but the thing is that because of the title, people don't know the title until they hear that line. They hear that line.
Well, there's a little video. There's a video on YouTube with it. We did it back in 1985, although that's the second time we recorded it. It was out in 78, 77 or 78. And that's when I recorded it. And around the time I did number one DJ, Goody Goody, It Looks Like Love. Do you remember dancing to It Looks Like Love? It
Yes.
looks like feels good. I wrote those lyrics. It looks like love, soft and sweet. Yeah.
Now that we're now into the whole situation with Salsoul Orchestra, because Salsoul Orchestra, when did your father bring you in to work with Salsoul and all of the other musicians?
Well, somebody just I don't know if you saw that, but somebody just said something to me. Anyway, I was living on the West Coast in San Diego, and I had just gone across the country. I was with the band for about a year or two on the road, and I said, I had met someone, and we went across the country. I was there, and my father called me, and he said, Denise, get home. And I said, what do you mean? He said, there's something called disco, and it's really taking off.
And that's what the show is about. So that's the story I want to hear.
So he said, get home. He said, I have songs to record with you. So I did get home because I love music. That's another song I recorded too, the OJ song. And I did, and we started working on songs. And actually, I sang Runaway. I was the person who did Runaway, so Lolita could hear
Lolita Holloway? Okay, you know what? Hold that thought. We're going to come right back. Hold that thought. Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Everyone, with Denise Montana. Please, again, now continue with, you started writing, now disco is hot and is everywhere, and you're now working and writing with Salsoul Orchestra.
With my dad.
With your father, Vince Montana Jr. That's why I heard he was called Junior.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I never met my grandfather. He passed before I was even born. But yeah, my dad, he started doing disco because, you work in jazz and you work in that kind of, unless you're Chick Corea or, oh my God, or Herbie Hancock, that's very well known. My father was well known in the jazz arena, but not like he was in disco. He was called the grandfather of disco.
Right. Because now when you were, how many singers, female singers were on say a Salsoul album? Because there were a lot of tracks there, and a lot of the albums that always had a juicy girl wearing a wet t-shirt, or
that wasn't
you.
No, the one on the Goody Goody CD.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't going to allow me to do that.
No, okay. But there were a lot of others in the stable of artists. You were one of them, Lolita Holloway. You said
Carol Williams.
Carol Williams as well. Yes, that's right.
And I don't know really who else as far as women. But we all had our own sound. We all had our own, groove. I at the time was singing jazz standards and rock and roll and Four Freshman Harmonies, and we were doing Cold Blood and Stevie Wonder when I would be playing in clubs and all over the country. And then my dad, as I said, he called me and said, get home. And when I first heard disco, I was in a club and I was near a jukebox. Remember those?
Yeah. Yes.
Near a payphone. No.
Yeah, I'm sure today, nostalgically, the millennials, they probably have seen one, but have probably have never played one.
Exactly.
Although they are discovering the old gadgets that we used to use.
Yeah, I'm glad we have cell phones though. But there I was listening to this tune, and it's called "Rock the Boat, Baby, Rock the Boat." Vote over. I'm like, whoa, that must be disco. Was that one of the first disco songs?
I don't know if it was the first disco song. I know that Gloria Gaynor had Casanova Brown, and during the height of disco. Um, Now, the first, oh, you're gonna have me now looking to find out. Well, if our listeners will let us know by just simply writing to us first song, we can trace probably half a dozen of them. But
Yeah.
your trajectory began with the Salsa Orchestra,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you released on Atlantic Records, my number one DJ, that thing took off.
Well, how many DJ? Well, you know what my father said about that song? In fact, when we recorded it, he never titled it because sometimes you title a song and people are like, what's that song that Vince is doing? Let's go find out. In studio A and B, everybody would like listen in. He called it my man. So we didn't even title it until later. But he wrote a song about all the DJs, like
All the
repaying them,
DJs, yeah.
all the DJs, all the good that they have done, and bringing artists out and playing their records. So that was cool. I thought that was a really good idea. My father was a genius in a lot of ways.
God bless him. He was great, and he gave you such a wonderful footing in not only with your music, but with disco, and as we know you now, and it's not really to be lost because you are in the disco pantheon of royalty, and then your voice reminds me a lot of Corey Day of Savannah Band. The two of you have this stylings, vocal stylings that could very well be mistaken for either Corey or you. Did you know?
Thank you.
Did you ever hear that?
I absolutely love her.
Yeah. I mean, if I were to close my eyes and think, okay, who is that? Only because I know you now, but you and Corey have that vocal styling that is sort of like old world 1940s 50s 60s, and not contemporary. But I think I think someone just typed in the first disco record was Soul Makossa was the
Oh,
first. Mama say mama sa mama. Oh, I can't even say it. Soul Makossa. I'll remember it because I've got another melody in my head. But Soul Makossa was the first disco record. But you um have this really unique voice. You can either hearing your voice and hearing your melodic structure, you can hear jazz, but then if you're singing disco, you really kick it up a notch. Are there
yeah.
other
I've got a powerful voice, and I can do the. Somebody's leaving me a voicemail. um, I can let it out and let it hang out. Yeah, I can. And then I could be sultry and jazzy or samba ish and bossa nova ish. I love that too. I love some rock and roll. I pour a lot. In fact, when we did Merry Christmas All, we had done previous stuff like other songs where I was belting out, and my father said, I want you to do this Merry Christmas All like Frank Sinatra. And when I grew up with my mother and stepfather, every Friday night there was a show called Sid Mark, WWDB, and he would play Frank, and he'd play Ella Fitzgerald, and he would play Tony Bennett, and he would play, you name it, all the jazz, Mel Torme. That's how I grew up, listening to all those singers. And so Frank, to me, has wonderful phrasing, wonderful diction, articulate, and just a gorgeous voice. So I did listen to Frank Sinatra. And my father said, hit it like a Frank tune. Because I was singing, Christmas time is here. It's a jolly good time of the year. He said, no, 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 no. Hit it like bop, bop, like a horn player.
like
Bop,
a horn
bop,
player?
bop,
Right, right, right.
bop, 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 bop. So I did. And people can relate to that and not all the crazy embellishments and all the technology that is like so to me sometimes,
Well, everything is Pro Tools. You know, I always try to bring when I'm in the recording studio. I don't mind if the basement is all laid out with Pro Tools and keyboards and all that, but I gotta have a live, bring in some guitar and bring in some horns. I have to have live playing on the song. So I do a combination of both. So take me back with your sexy self back in those days of disco with all that hair and that body was slamming.
Wait. Don't I look good for 115?
You
I
do.
look marvelous.
We all do. But what was it like for you? Because you just showed me an old picture of you and Al Magliano. And boy, you guys really look disco with the hair and everything. What clubs did you go to?
Places in the Oranges, lots of places in the Oranges, and a lot in New York, Montreal,
Oranges, ladies and
Canada.
gentlemen, is the Oranges is Oranges, New Jersey.
Oranges, New Jersey. I'm sorry. And then Copacabana, we played. We played in Philadelphia, the art museum outside, which that two like thousands of people came to outside. We had a huge stage. The whole Salsoul Orchestra was on stage.
How many
We
members
played
were on that in salsa? Like, what was the setup?
probably 32.
What?
Wait, and we played with Chic at the Academy of Music, which, by the way, was one of my favorite places to play. I walked out on that stage and I was like, I just looked around, it looked like a birthday cake, the way it was all layered and everything. It was beautiful. And I played that place, and that was a 32-piece orchestra.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
I mean, you just don't do that. I mean, you don't think of that in disco.
No,
But
you don't. But
But he
that's the.
recorded the songs with all those strings and all those horns. French horn. What do you think was in Magic Bird? French horn, flutes, trumpet, trombone, saxophones, guitars, piano, drums, bass,
Yeah.
violins,
Cymbals.
cellos.
Cellos. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
what.
yeah.
That's what's one of my favorite instruments, and there's always room for cello.
Right. Now you know that's the other thing that a lot of people don't realize that the late Chuck Morale in the studio he brought in violin players and he brought in all lot because he was an accomplished pianist. So he
Oh,
would
okay.
play, he would lay down a foundation,
Classically trained.
classically trained from France, and then of course he would bring in Horace Ott that did the string and horn arrangements. Now Horace
Oh,
Ott wrote Gloria
oh
back
yeah.
in the day. So Horace Ott, I don't know if he's still around. I hope he is. But again, disco during disco, it was a lot of live instrumentation in the music, a lot of live and a lot of production that was not done like today, and also the group went out on the road live with a band. We would set up on a dance floor in a club.
That's the way
We
I
didn't
like it.
have tracks.
I do like. I mean, oh gosh, somebody's just a scam call is coming through. Sorry. Do you still see me?
I see you. Yeah, I have my phone on do not disturb.
I don't know. I didn't do that. Just
Now,
it'll stop.
that's okay.
Let
We'll
me.
just simply report them. Okay. Yeah. Well, we're gonna bring you back. We'll bring you back. So you right now, what are you doing other than you just performed recently, right?
Yeah, I did. I did a show at one of the most wonderful venues in our area. I live in an area where off the main line and near Bryn Mawr, Ardmore, Villanova, all those colleges. There's a place called Ardmore Music Hall. State of the art sound, state of the art place. Actually, my son played there with his band Blend Mode, and he's a jam band, and it was wonderful. It was Richie Family, Wardell, and I, and the girls.
Did you say
Uh,
Odell?
Wardell,
Oh, more okay. Wardell,
and,
yeah.
and we had a wonderful time, and a lot of people showed up, and we'll probably go back and again another time. It's the sound is so great. The lights are fantastic. Like, you play all those places that are.
Sure, of course, of
You
course.
should play there. You should definitely play there.
Well, I'm
I mean,
leaving next week to oh no, this week. I'm leaving this week to Boca Raton, Florida, with for the 45th. Is it the 45th or 44th Saturday Night Fever show with Denny Terrio as the host.
wonderful.
And
Do you know
then
what's so funny? I'm supposed to leave Wednesday
45th,
morning, the
45th.
45th.
45th. Yeah, myself, Lime, Blue Notes, Frangeli,
Oh,
Earl Young with featuring with the Tramps, Travaris, and Evelyn Champagne
I
King.
did see that. I did see that. That's wonderful. I'm supposed to leave Wednesday morning because we have a movie about my father called Heavy Vibes.
Oh, let's talk about that, please.
Well, Alberto Moriera, about 3 years ago, contacted me and said, I want to do a film about your father. Long story short, there's another man named Al that did the video down in Philadelphia. They all came to Philly. Alberto's from New York, lives in Florida. He lives in Fort Lauderdale, and there's a hurricane coming, and
That's what I heard.
I'm kind of not thrilled about. I like being in all action and fun things like that, but I don't know if I want to fly.
Yeah,
So they're having a Fort Lauderdale's Film Festival is having a red carpet world premiere for my father's film.
What is the
It's
name
called
of the film?
the Vince Montana retrospect, Heavy Vibes.
Heavy Vibes. I want to look out for that.
And it's going to be all over it's going to go all over the world.
To all the festivals around the country.
Yeah, it's going to happen. This is the very first one, the world premiere, and I was supposed to be there, and I'm still on the fence about the hurricane.
Right, and when is the festival? What day?
Well, they were going to fly me in. The festival's the 10th on Thursday. They were going to fly me in early afternoon on Wednesday, and then Friday afternoon I would be home. So the hurricane. Somebody called me earlier and said the hurricane's coming, and it could be Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
Well, the thing is, I'm flying out on Friday,
I know.
and so I
They
haven't
might
even.
say to you, "You're not hopping on that plane."
I need to do this show. It's like
I know.
It's
Of
my
course.
first show in 2 years.
You have to do it.
I was just getting started solo when I met you, when I saw you and we sang together for the Vinyl Legends Hall of Fame, and I think it was 2018. Yeah, 18.
It had to have been because I didn't
19.
go.
It was
We
19.
didn't have the 20th. Oh, maybe it was the 19th.
It was the 19th because we didn't have 20.
I didn't go to 21, and I didn't go to 22. I couldn't.
Did you go this year to the Vinyl Legends Hall of Fame? Because I heard it was really beautiful.
Yeah, I did too, but I
It's
couldn't.
in a theater now. It's in a theater and sit down.
Yeah.
Everyone sits down. Everyone is very civil. You remember the night that we were there, it was crazy, that VIP area. People wouldn't leave us alone. They didn't care about the red velvet rope. They moved that thing aside.
I know.
They were even eating our food.
I know people were just coming in droves.
Right. A little scary too.
Yeah. But we had fun. We did. Music is a healer. It's joy. Oh my God.
Thank God for music, because I tell you, well, if there would have been no music in the world when the world went into lockdown, I think I would have lost my mind, because Netflix and streaming and all that stuff wouldn't have solved anything, because it's music that gets us through everything. And that is one of the staples of listening to songs like yours, number one DJ. You put it on, it takes me right back to what I was doing when I was getting ready to go out. And you would put that on just to get yourself ready, because you knew the DJ was going to give it to you, give it to all of us.
I loved your music too. I still do.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you. Well, I'm just going to tell you right now that it's an absolute honor to have you on the show. There's going to be some beautiful editing of a lot of stuff that we found on you, and some really beautiful jazz things that on video as well. So this
Oh, you went to YouTube, or you went
we
to?
went everywhere. We went everywhere. And so right now, for all our fans on the Disco Chronicles, how can we find you? Where can we find you? On what social media platforms?
Facebook, Instagram. I quit Twitter. I quit LinkedIn. Um, I like
I'm about to quit
it's too
Twitter.
much. It's too
It
much.
is.
I don't
So
want. I
pretty
don't want
much.
to. I don't want to hear the toxicity. I don't want to hear people fighting. I don't. In fact, on Facebook, people stop fighting.
Well, right. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But I think that I have more people that know me on Facebook than my website is still there. However, and I still pay Easy and GoDaddy. But I need to make a new website.
Yeah, well, my website is also still sitting. I don't know what, and my social media a producer and associate
I
producer,
used to.
she runs it, and I barely ever go to it.
I barely go to it. I don't even know
But
if people are writing me there, but I need to fix it. I have songs that from my CD called In My Life. It's a jazz, pretty much a jazz CD with a little bit of, I did You'll Never Walk Alone, and that's just like a spiritual thing. But it's, and a song I wrote called Warm Embraces. However, I have more people hitting me up if I'm doing a job or something, playing somewhere, than to my website. You know,
right.
I used to sell Merry Christmas All on there for a couple bucks, but now somehow maybe that's down, and you can listen to a couple of my songs on there. I don't know if you went there or not, but it's just www.
I found you on Instagram, and of course on Facebook. We see each other all the time, and
Yeah,
that's a blessing because it still keeps us all connected.
absolutely.
So, what else is coming up? What any new music coming up with you?
I've been talking to a producer. He lives in Arizona, and he wants to do a couple songs with me. And in fact, when we do the songs, he's got the actual layout for the music, and then we both write the lyrics when we talk to each other on the phone. So then I'm part and parcel of the whole deal.
Right.
So that's good. And I'm in with the film too, because I helped a lot with that, with my father's film. And so we're always working on that. And then there's somebody else that wants to do something. And then I'm doing a couple Christmas shows, which I absolutely love.
That's great.
And I just sang in a museum. Which, have you ever sung in a museum, an art museum?
Pretty much have sung everywhere around the world. I don't know.
That's neat
I've ever
because
sung and
you're you're seeing
wait,
the art.
we did at the Museum of Natural History with the big sperm whale.
Okay.
Okay, there. But
Yeah,
the acoustics were,
I know, because they could be echoey. But
yeah,
this last place, it was called the Woodmere Museum, was not very echoey. The audience was wonderful because they appreciate good art, and then music is art. So you're
of course.
seeing the art, and then you're hearing the art with the music. So I think it's a great thing. And then I play at a place called the Michener Museum in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. That's another beautiful. And I've played the Art Museum in Philly, which, the Rocky Steps, and I played outside
Right,
there.
that's a beautiful museum. I've been to that. I used to live
Yeah,
in Philadelphia.
you
I said,
did.
yeah, I lived in Center City and then Northeast Philly and then Center City.
Oh,
So
okay.
the museum of the Philly Museum was famous because of Rocky and the steps and all that. And
Yeah.
it's a stunning museum, but I've got quite a few on my bucket list for this winter, a few museums that I need to go and visit and just to do some sidetrack visits into New York City. So I want to thank you, Denise, for being on the show.
You mean
Yay!
it's all over already?
Almost. I mean, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
basically we're gonna we're going to, list. We're gonna definitely end the show with a number one DJ. You'll get a copy of the whole show, and you'll be able to put it up on your social media.
That's what I was going to ask you. Will my friends be able to see it?
Yes, they'll be able to see it, and and then in January, it'll have its own YouTube page, the Disco Chronicles and beyond, because we talk more about not just disco and the experience of disco, but then music before and the music that followed afterwards. And then, of course, on Anchor FM, everyone, if they download the app, they can hear the show. So your show, I believe, will air next Monday. while I'm in Florida on the 14th. I'll send that all.
So air audio and video.
Just it'll on Spotify, audio and video. Okay. They can watch it, but on Anchor FM they can hear it, and that's free. You know, but you'll get the links and you'll get all of that. And
well, I know how to put it up.
But listen, I want to thank you again for your contribution, not just in jazz and but in disco, and you stand tall in the pantheons of royalty with the South Soul Orchestra and your father's legacy, which is remarkable. I'm so happy about his film and his story that will come out. So congratulations again for keeping that legacy alive.
I love you.
I love you too. Thank you, everyone. That was Denise Montana as our guest.
I love you all out there in Facebook.
And see you on Facebook.
Do it again. Do it again. I love that. Are you going to teach me one day?
That's a cipher under the falsetto.
Play it for me. Songs you